Tonight, extreme weather. Flooding in the Midwest sweeps houses into rivers, turns streets into streams, and forces thousands to flee their homes. Those in the east, meanwhile, head to the water as temperatures push triple digits. I'm Katie Couric. Also tonight, gasoline, $4 and climbing. How high can prices go before the oil bubble bursts? From the scrimmage line to the front line. Technology that protects football players could soon be protecting our soldiers. And a new speedier Speedo. Is it giving Olympic athletes who wear it an unfair advantage?
This is the CBS Evening News with Katie Couric.
And good evening, everyone. Much of the country is dealing with some really dangerous weather tonight, from flooding to extremely high temperatures and humidity. Storms blamed for 10 deaths over the weekend touched off the flooding in the Midwest, and there were more storms today. Water poured over a dam near Wisconsin Dells, sweeping a number of homes away. The East, meanwhile, is caught in a spring heat wave with temperatures in the high 90s from Boston to Washington, D.C. Richmond, Virginia, by the way, hit 100. We'll begin, though, with those floods. We have a team of correspondents from CBS stations in the flood zone. First, Wisconsin.
I'm Linda Eggert, and what you see behind me is Lake Delton, or what's left of it. It is virtually gone. About 80% of it is now gone, flooded down into the Wisconsin River. It was absolutely unbelievable. This is like a rapids ride here. It took out a huge chunk of County Highway A, probably 100 to 200 feet wide, 50 feet deep. I mean, it literally just tore through and raced through, taking about 4 homes with it. Now, this is not a dam failure problem. This is simply a low-lying area that became so inundated with water, it just flooded and forced its way through just a huge chunk of land and a county highway. The devastation here is just tremendous. People are calling it surreal. One lady said it was like a water slide times 1,000. Just unbelievable here.
In Columbus, Indiana, I'm Jay Hermosinski. Here at the regional hospital, crews are working around the clock to pump more than 6 feet of water out of the hospital. The weekend storm dumped as much as 11 inches of rain on parts of Indiana. 2 people died in the floods. More than 97,000 homes across the state were without power. The governor has declared 29 counties as disaster areas. That's close to a third of the state. Columbus hasn't seen this type of flooding in over 95 years. While homeowners deal with flood-soaked homes in the western part of the state, 200 National Guardsmen, along with 150 Marines, work hard to sandbag levees in preparation for another round of storms this evening.
I'm Sonia Mogi in Iowa City, where neighbors and volunteers have been working around the clock for days trying to barricade their homes from the growing Iowa River. You can see it's already starting to creep up into some of these backyards, and it's only going to get worse. In the floods of 1993, boats were some of the only ways people could get around, and now much of the property that's around the river belongs to the University of Iowa, which is having to relocate many of its classes. In Iowa City, I'm Sonia Mogi for the CBS Evening News.
And we thank all those reporters. Now to the extreme heat here in the east. Advisories were up through much of the region today, telling people to stay inside if possible. Here's Bianca Solorzano.
After 3 straight days of temperatures blazing above 90 degrees, it's been officially declared a heat wave in New York City. By afternoon, the mercury reached 96 degrees. Mix in the high humidity, and it felt like 105.
There's an inferno out here right now. It feel like it's an oven on 400 degrees.
At this construction site, Kevin McGrath's work, already grueling, turned downright miserable.
Once you start sweating, the sheetrock dust sticks to you, it gets itchy. Just try and keep drinking a lot of water and wash yourself off as much as you can.
And the heat melted business in half for rickshaw drivers who work up a sweat pedaling tourists around city streets.
A rickshaw on a hot day, are a lot of people renting them?
No, not today. Too hot. Too hot.
Some New Jersey schools closed early to get kids out of hot classrooms.
Too hot to try to figure out what to do, especially with 4 little boys that like to be outside.
From Philadelphia to the nation's capital, it's been a battle to stay cool. The heat and dry conditions are fueling this eastern North Carolina wildfire. More than 30,000 acres have burned. All along the East Coast, temperatures are soaring 10 to 20 degrees above normal. In the past 24 to 48 hours, records have been broken in nearly 50 places, including northwest Georgia, which sizzled at 103, Ithaca, New York, even up in the mountains of New Hampshire.
It is a remarkable heat wave because of the age of the records that have been broken, going all the way back to 1899 in some cases, and then 1933 in other cases.
And all of this about 2 weeks before the official start of summer. Some good news, though. A cold front is heading east. Things are expected to cool off by Wednesday, but will still be about 5 to 10 degrees above normal. Katie?
I was going to say, Bianca, what the heck happened to spring? Thanks very much. Come inside, because I know it's pretty toasty out there. Thank you. Now turning to the CBS News Money Watch, gasoline prices hit a nationwide average of $4 over the weekend and kept going up today to $4.04. And after Friday's big jump in oil, it fell more than $4 today to just over $1.34 a barrel. It wasn't long ago we saw the housing bubble burst, so is oil next? Here's Anthony Mason.
Drivers aren't the only ones getting squeezed by the soaring price of gas.
This is how we block all of our islands when we don't have any gas.
So you had to put all of these out and shut down the station, basically?
That's right.
Connecticut station owner Chris Canavan had to close for 2 days recently because he couldn't afford the $40,000 payment for his next delivery.
So as a consequence, we ran out.
Many traders say the high price of oil is simply a matter of supply and demand. But when you look at the charts, there are some striking similarities to other recent bubbles.
Here's the tech stock bubble of the 1990s, and here's the housing bubble reflected in homebuilder stocks. Now, look at the rising arc in oil prices since 2001.
There is definitely a speculative bubble.
Billionaire investor George Soros says speculators have pushed the price of oil over $130 a barrel. Trader Phil Flynn also calls it a bubble. It's just a question, he says, of when it pops.
I mean, we could see oil back below $100. We could see it back to 80, and you remember the last time oil was back in 80? That was way back in the good old days of January.
Since January, gas has jumped from less than $3 a gallon to more than $4, a 35% increase, even though demand here in the U.S. has actually declined. And while it's true that the exploding Asian economies are using more energy, many say we're not about to run out of oil.
If you look at fundamentals, you will actually find there isn't a problem at the moment. And there may not be a problem for another 10 years or so.
Meanwhile, the Saudis called for a meeting today of oil-producing countries to discuss the price of crude, which they say is unjustifiably high. Katie?
And also today, Treasury Secretary Hank Paulson said he would not rule out intervening to basically boost the value of the dollar. Is that going to be enough to burst the bubble, you think?
It could be, Katie, and right after he said that, the price of oil dropped about $4. Now, what's happened here is investors have been using oil as a hedge against the weak dollar. If the dollar starts to stabilize or come back, they may start to pull their money out. Some believe the price of oil could drop dramatically.
Well, we could only hope so, right, yeah. Anthony? All right, Anthony Mason, thank you. As we mentioned, the rise in gas prices has been absolutely staggering. It took 25 years to go from $1 to $2, but just 2 years to hit $3 and 2 more to reach $4. Some parts of the country are feeling the pain a lot more than others, though, as Hari Srinivasan reports.
And do you want to pay that with a debit card?
Brandy and Dallas Martin have good jobs that they like, working at a call center in a small town in southern Oklahoma. But with soaring gas prices, getting to work has been getting too expensive.
When the last 6 months as gas went up, we've constantly thought, man, we're going to have to find something closer. We don't have a choice.
The Martins drive 37 miles each way to and from work.
And what kind of a bite is that taking out of your paycheck?
A big one.
It takes about a fourth of our paychecks together.
The Martins aren't alone. Gas prices are hitting especially hard in rural America.
It definitely hits you in the wallet.
In the South and Midwest, where fuel prices are around $3.90 a gallon, the median income is only about $38,000 a year. Here, fuel prices can eat up about 15% of a family's budget. Compare that to the coasts, where fuel prices are higher, more than $4 a gallon, but so is take-home pay. Fuel prices on the coasts are only about 4% of the family income.
The pain at the pump is definitely not spread evenly.
Tom Cloza is an oil industry analyst. He says rural areas where long distances are common and mass transit is rare is bearing the brunt of the gas price squeeze.
It's certainly not spread out over some of the communities that you see in the heartland where the fuel price is probably more apocalyptic than on the coast.
The problem was so bad, the Martins' employer started a fuel assistance program.
If there was no assistance, we wouldn't have a help. We'd be stuck.
The Martins are lucky the program helped them keep their jobs. But for millions of other Americans, the only hope is the remote possibility that prices may ease sometime soon. Hari Srinivasan, CBS News, Ada, Oklahoma.
Soaring gas prices and oil company profits dominated the presidential race today, and that tops our Campaign 08 notebook. In North Carolina, Barack Obama attacked John McCain for advocating corporate tax cuts at a time big oil is making record profits.
When we're paying more than $4 a gallon for gas, the man who rails against government spending wants to spend $1.2 billion on a tax break for ExxonMobil. That isn't just irresponsible, it's outrageous.
The McCain campaign fired back, accusing Senator Obama of voting for Vice President Cheney's energy bill, which included billions in tax subsidies for oil companies, including ExxonMobil. Senator McCain and his wife Cindy stopped for coffee and handshakes in Richmond, Virginia, before attending a luncheon that raised $800,000 for his campaign. In Washington, the House voted to give Secret Service protection to former vice presidents, beginning with Dick Cheney, for at least 6 months after they leave office. Former presidents currently get protection for life, though beginning with President Bush, it will be limited to 10 years. And there's more CBS News ahead, including another reason doctors say men should make sure they're getting enough vitamin D.